From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Wednesday, September 17th. Another warm day out there. Dry, too, starting out in the mid-60s, going to get up to the upper 80s, potentially even low 90s, and we don't have any rain in sight for at least the next few days.
By who else? Mitchell, Lexi Hall, very good to beat the buzzer.
A third-quarter buzzer beater further electrifies the Indiana Fever and their fans as the team keeps the postseason alive. Indiana blows out Atlanta 77-60. It forces a winner-take-all Game 3 tomorrow night in Atlanta. Our Angela Morian talked to three keys to making it happen: Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, and Coach Stephanie White.
Pure pandemonium erupted in Gainbridge Fieldhouse as the Indiana Fever dominated the Atlanta Dream 77-60 to win its first playoff game in 10 years. It was a combination of relentless aggressive defense plus some pretty nice shooting by the Fever that turned the Dream into an absolute nightmare. This win for the Fever meant extra, especially after all the adversity they battled just to get to the postseason.
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge. We played good enough defense down there, and our offense just couldn't get going, and we were able to get it going on both sides tonight. I continue to just be so proud of this group and their resilience, their toughness, and their ability to respond.
I think our first win here was big for us because we've been resilient throughout the course of the year, and it was just, I don't know, it felt really good to see ourselves on top and do something great for a change. When it comes to us being resilient and have to fight off a lot of ups and downs, backs and forth, and so it felt good for us to really, come out on top tonight.
I mean, everyone was happy. The vibes were really great. I think, just like Kel said, this was super big for us. Our backs were definitely against the wall in this, and we know that we've just been through so much this season that coming out with this win and then giving ourselves another chance in Game 3, emotions are high.
The Fever now head to Atlanta for a winner-take-all Game 3 on Thursday. The last time the Fever won a playoff series, back in 2015. Coincidentally, the same year, the Fever made it to the WNBA Finals. Season's not over yet, folks. In Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I'm Angela Morian for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Angela mentioned the 2015 team. None of the squads after that even won one playoff game. The end of the dry spell sparked a big celebration at the Fieldhouse. News 8's Colin Bailey was there for it. He went to the game. Probably didn't get a lot of sleep. He was with us this morning outside Gainbridge.
It was a raucous environment inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night, from the pregame party beforehand to the build-up to the game and the game itself, especially in that third quarter. You really felt the energy from the crowd. One cool thing, though, fans of all ages were just happy to see a playoff win because it's been quite a while. All decked out in red, now you know it t-shirts, and now that you know it, Game 3 right on the horizon, but I mentioned the crowd was decked out in red t-shirts once they got inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The party started before the game as fans filed into Bicentennial Unity Plaza for a pre-game party. Then inside, it was a rocking Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Fans of all ages enjoyed the Fever's playoff win. Many fans who walked outside after the win last night, they were yelling, "Now you know, go Fever," just full of excitement. We caught up with some fans who enjoyed the first playoff win in nearly a decade.
Because this is my first Fever game. Like I said, it's a playoff game, and everybody was here. Everybody was energetic. I came with my sisters. I came with my son. I came with my cousin. So and then I saw a lot of people that I haven't seen in years. Like, it was like a reunion almost. Like, hey, let's go, let's win, and we won.
The Fever came in, they took care of business like we expected them to. We set the tone early on defense and got us all the way home to a Game 3 in Atlanta on Thursday.
Many fans excited as this could be the final time that this Fever team plays here on the floor inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But Game 3 set for tomorrow evening at 7:30. Fever Dream, winner takes all, moves on to the next round. For now, here outside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I'm Colin Bailey for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
If there's anything I know, there's nothing like playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
That's one of the Indiana Fever's most famous fans hyping up the crowd. A video of Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton is from the Fever's X. Halliburton has been very vocal and visible in his support for the team, including bonding with injured Fever players as they and he heal from injuries. His encouragement seemed to work. The victory is a birthday wish come true for one young fan. Liliana Martz celebrated her 10th birthday at last night's game. She traveled with her dad from Baltimore to see it. She got a birthday crown, a Fever jersey, and shot hoops at the pregame party. Her favorite player is the Fever's leading scorer.
My favorite player is Kelsey Mitchell because, she keeps shooting threes and twos. And maybe, in the free throws, she always makes them.
Mitchell delivered, leading the team with 19 points in the Game 2 win. Other news now, Governor Braun says it is increasingly likely that he will call a special session to redraw the state's congressional lines to help Republicans claim more House seats. News 8 government reporter Garrett Berquist talked to the governor and a leading Democrat.
The governor says he still won't call a special session unless there is a clear consensus to do so among legislative Republicans. But he says it's increasingly likely he'll get that. Braun's comments on Tuesday are by far the clearest signal he's given yet. They follow individual statements by some Republicans who say they now support redistricting after earlier opposing it.
I think this ends up eventually in a place where, for the reason of redistricting and maybe other issues, that we'll get there. I've been very clear. I want it to be organic because we don't do it unless it's going to be a successful outcome.
House and Senate Republicans met behind closed doors last week. They still won't publicly say where their caucuses stand as a whole. Braun says he probably would ask lawmakers to address other issues in addition to redrawing Indiana's congressional maps.
One could possibly be how we dovetail with the bill that was passed to make sure that our own state code will coordinate with it so that we can take benefits of what changed in the big bill.
It isn't really a one-issue special session. That's what he's trying to avoid. Let's use that term. That's what he's trying to avoid because he can't get the support to have everybody come in just for that one issue.
Delaney says any argument for redrawing Indiana's maps mid-cycle ignores the fact the Republican supermajority already drew the current maps.
Are they saying they understole, that they didn't shoplift enough seats? That's a real test of a bad argument, when the justification keeps shifting. Now, as some people are saying, it's because the Democrats are violent, so we got to get rid of the Democrats. I've heard repeatedly that we should have no seats. We should have no seats because we didn't win any statewide elections. Where's that written?
House Speaker Todd Houston and Senate President pro tempore Rod Bray would be responsible for telling the governor whether their caucuses want to redraw the maps. Their offices have repeatedly refused for weeks to comment on possible redistricting. Braun says if he calls a special session, lawmakers would hold it sometime between early November and the beginning of the regular session in early January, likely earlier rather than later. At the State House, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Governor Braun says the state will launch a program to help businesses boost the skills of their employees. It's called Power Up Indiana. Braun says it will support businesses that encourage workers to keep learning. Indiana's Commerce Secretary says to qualify, businesses will have to provide training and guarantee pay raises of at least 25% to employees who participate.
So we're actually going to be monitoring this as well to ensure that the wage increase is at a minimum of that. But this is also beyond just the wage increase. It's an opportunity for employers to rethink how they develop the talent within their own organizations, which with the great unemployment we have here in this state, we think it's a great opportunity, especially to fill, again, these high-value, high-wage jobs that employers so desperately need.
The legislature set aside $10 million for the program in the budget they passed this year. A Marion County Corrections officer is out of a job and facing charges, accused of trafficking drugs in the county jail. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says deputies took Bryce Birdsong into custody yesterday. He had worked at the jail for a year. Detectives say they confronted Birdsong as he arrived to work Tuesday and found drugs on him and in his car. Your statewide news network covers Porter County, where federal authorities have arrested a man from Chesterton accused of posting a threat to the Naval Academy. The threat prompted a lockdown that led to a shooting. Jackson Fleming is 23 and attended the Naval Academy through early 2024. Federal prosecutors say Fleming's post, delivered last week on September 11th, led the school to lockdown. And in that confusion over whether there was a real shooter, security forces shot a midshipman in the shoulder. Prosecutors in Utah have formally charged the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson had a virtual court appearance yesterday, his first since the shooting. News 8's Hernan Gutierrez has the specific charges and the plans to make this a death penalty case.
The Utah County Attorney says that based on the evidence and the nature of the shooting, he is going forward with the death penalty in this case. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is charged with 7 different counts, including aggravated murder. According to court documents, Robinson's DNA was found on the rifle used in the shooting. Robinson is also being charged with 2 counts of witness tampering. Prosecutors say he directed his romantic partner to delete their messages and stay silent if questioned by police. The charging documents included a text to his partner confessing to the shooting. Other charges include obstruction of justice, felony discharge of a firearm, and committing a violent offense with a child present. Officials also revealed that Robinson had been planning the shooting for more than a week.
Robinson implied that he was the shooter. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate.
Prosecutors say that Robinson targeted Kirk because of his political beliefs, but did not reveal any specific issues as a motive for the shooting. Robinson's next court hearing is scheduled for September 29th. He's being held without bail. I'm Hernan Gutierrez, Wish TV, WishTV.com.
Voters in Minnesota have chosen a successor to the state lawmaker who was assassinated in June. Democrat XP Lee won yesterday's special election to fill the seat of House Speaker Melissa Hortman. Lee's win restores a 67-67 tie between Democrats and Republicans in the Minnesota House. Prosecutors have charged Vance Belter with killing Hortman and her husband, Mark Hortman, and wounding a Democratic state senator and his wife in the same night. A judge in New York has thrown out terrorism charges against the man accused of killing the CEO of United Healthcare. The judge in Luigi Mangione's case said in a hearing yesterday that it was not an ordinary crime, but it does not meet the standard of terrorism under state law. Surveillance cameras captured the killing on the city sidewalk last December. The judge left other state charges in place, including second-degree murder. Mangione also faces federal charges that could carry the death penalty. The Vatican says Pope Leo told the new U.S. ambassador to the Holy See that he is concerned about political violence in America. The Vatican says the Pope delivered the message as he met with the ambassador, Brian Birch, Saturday. The Vatican also says that the Pope told Birch that he is praying for Charlie Kirk and his family. Economists and investors anticipate the Federal Reserve could cut its key interest rate today in the second day of its meeting. Amy Kiley reports.
My expectation is they will vote for a cut.
Analysts expect Federal Reserve decision makers to reduce interest rates today for the first time since December. Most estimate at least a quarter-point drop. That would bring the target federal funds rate to between 4 and 4.25%. Such a cut usually makes it cheaper to borrow money.
They set the price and supply of money. That literally affects how much we pay for our mortgage, our credit card, our auto loan, and it affects really the entire base of business.
The Fed vote comes as FICO reports the biggest credit score drop since the Great Recession. For some Americans, that's pushing loan costs the other way.
The higher the score, the cheaper it is to borrow, and vice versa. Lower scores make it more expensive to borrow.
In addition to impacting debt, a Fed interest rate cut also can increase inflation. Many economists say tariffs are doing that already.
Things are going to cost more in the grocery store. Your BLT is going to be like bacon and lettuce because tomatoes are up.
Fed decision makers also affect the yield on savings accounts and CDs, and they can influence retirement funds in the stock market.
They will indicate what we call a loosening bias or an easing bias, but they won't commit ahead of time to future cuts. And I think the markets may react a little negatively to that.
I'm Amy Kiley for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
Let's go to Jane King now with your business headlines, and she starts with the potential TikTok deal.
A lot of companies have a hand in keeping TikTok alive, according to reports. Now, the U.S.-based owners include Oracle, as well as the investing firms Andreessen Horowitz and Silver Lake. So together, they would own 80% of TikTok, and Chinese shareholders would own the rest. Now, this is not a done deal. That's expected to happen when President Trump and China's president speak on Friday. Well, the World Health Organization will recommend using weight loss drugs to treat obesity in adults. That's according to draft guidance from the agency that urges countries to take the condition seriously, like a chronic disease. Now, the WHO's expert committee concluded the popular drugs are part of a solution for a healthier planet. Now, in another study that shows half of people who take weight loss drugs stop taking them within a year. And that study was presented at the annual meeting of the European Association for the Study of Diabetes. Well, car industry experts warn prices are climbing fast. They say that inventory is down 6% from last year as tariffs threaten future price increases. Now, currently, buyers can still get that tax credit to lower the upfront cost of an EV, but that expires on September 30th. And mortgage rates fell to a 3-year low ahead of the Fed meeting today. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage dropped 12 basis points to 6.13%, according to Mortgage News Daily. That is the lowest since late 2022. We just got refinancing numbers up 60% this week. So that is due to this drop we've seen in mortgage rates. Stocks fell yesterday. We did hit records early on, but then some profit taking ahead of the Fed meeting. And we'll get their decision this afternoon. Live from the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King.
New this morning, Jerry from Ben & Jerry is leaving his namesake ice cream company. Unilever has owned the brand since 2000. The company's relationship with the founders appears to have disintegrated over social issues. Jerry Greenfield and Ben Cohen have long been very open about and have used the product to advance progressive causes. Cohen has now posted a long statement from Greenfield, who writes in part, Ben & Jerry's has been silenced, sidelined for fear of upsetting those in power, and it's happening at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, the rights of immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ community. Unilever is in the process of spinning off Magnum Ice Cream Company, which runs Ben & Jerry's. Spokesperson for Magnum says it disagrees with Jerry's perspective and sought to engage the co-founders in constructive conversation. Also new this morning, someone has bought Jim Irsay's home in Carmel. The real estate listing says it sold for $11.75 million. That's a little bit down from the $12 million that it was originally listed for. The property covers nearly 10 acres alongside Crooked Stick Golf Club and has a main house of nearly 26,000 square feet, a 2-bedroom guest cottage, a cabin, and a par 3 golf course. This has been your News 8 Daily. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcasts.